Just like this coming up story on Nothing to See Here. Mediocre.
Excuse me. All right, move on. Nothing to see here. Please disperse. Nothing to see here, please.
All right.
My favorite thing about that whole little is all the people coming up behind it.
Yep. Running away.
It's always so.
I hear they're actually doing a remake of The Naked Gun.
It'd be hard to get it right because Leslie Nielsen is.
Oh yeah,
so
Leslie
good.
Nielsen was great.
He does a great job in that one of like because you almost have to have like a Matt Walsh style kind of like like stone face.
Just a brief story, like brief Leslie Nielsen.
Okay.
This section from superhero movie is hilarious. Nail gun.
Nail gun scene. I don't know if I saw it then.
There we go. Awfully nice of you to help me out here, Trey.
Oh, no problem. I'm waiting on Rick anyway, so.
My God. How did you do that?
It's easier than it looks.
No, I don't think so.
No, I don't think
Why
so.
don't you tell me what's going on?
No, I don't think so. Kevin Hart's reaction is so good. He's just like,
What are you doing?
oh man, I remember the first time I watched that. I watched it like 2 a.m. And watching something at 2 a.m, you were gonna
It's always
find things
funnier.
way funnier. And so my buddy Sean and I were crying laughing.
It's a good scene. I'll give you
It
that.
is a great scene. It's like one of the only funny scenes in the movie, but it was just like, oh my gosh, this scene is so funny.
Yeah.
Anyways.
like the Naked Gun has that in droves. So anyway, so this week, nothing to see here. There's a reason why this literally like encapsulates the whole idea of nothing to see here because it's like they're doing the most egregious things, and we're supposed to pretend like this is all fine, no big deal. It's the ultimate of it's okay when we do it. So like so this is the story. This just happened, I think yesterday. Didn't it happen?
Yes.
Yeah. So take it away.
Yeah, okay. Prominent YouTuber Ethan Klein says he hopes Ben Shapiro gets gassed first if there's another Holocaust.
Oh yeah.
That's really nice. So prominent liberal YouTuber Ethan Klein told viewers that he hopes if there's another Holocaust, Ben Shapiro gets gassed first. Shapiro is, of course, another YouTuber and founder of the Daily Wire. The clip shared on Twitter shows Klein saying, I was just going to say if there's another Holocaust, we'll start this. I say if we start running up the Jews again, I hope Ben gets gassed first.
Yeah. Throw out the clip from the YouTube. So this is a
YouTube or this?
YouTube video that I shared with you.
This one.
That one. Okay, so just to tee this up, this is actually a left-wing commentator commenting on Ezra Klein or Ethan Klein, and he kind of like gives you a big picture of how the left sees this. So just listen to what he says.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting gassed too.
With him almost instantly facing a ton of criticism and backlash, largely from conversation. You had people saying Ethan went DEFCON
Holocaust, and people start rounding up the Jews. I just say if they start rounding up the Jews again, I hope Ben gets gassed first or last.
Jesus.
Yeah. Not to speak.
These were his co-hosts.
Can I not say
And
that?
they were like,
Yes.
Can I not say that? It's like, ugh.
What am I gonna? I can't. I'm not doing anything. I'm getting gassed too.
with him almost instantly
Yikes.
No, but like, take it to what he says here. This guy. It's not just about the clip from.
What Philip DeBranco says?
facing a ton of criticism and backlash, largely from conservatives and far-right figures in particular, as well as others calling Ethan a scumbag, arguing that his channel should be deleted. People saying if Kanye deserves to be called out for his remarks, Ethan should as well. You also had others saying they don't agree with Ben Shapiro's views, but they think that the joke was too far. All of this even leading to a response from Shapiro himself saying, if there was another Holocaust, I would hope that Ethan and his family escaped. But maybe that's just me. But to that, H3 responded saying, hey Ben, it's a joke. Do conservatives know what those are? And sure, in poor taste, but but not as poor taste as you platforming anti-Semites who spread dangerous conspiracies that leads to real violence against Jews. That's the meaning of my joke, but of course you don't care about context. And Ethan doubled down on the same stance today during his podcast with Hassan Piker, who said this was a lot of manufactured outrage.
They always do this. They try to like deflect away and go, what about this guy? He's actually anti-Semitic. Or what about this guy? He's the real racist. Like it's a classic conservative trope at this point to turn around and like find anything and everything they can to shift the attention away. And you know, you gave them an opening. With colorful language like that, for sure.
And along those lines, you also had a lot of people defending Ethan as well. People posting things like Ethan Klein is Jewish, Jews are allowed to make dark jokes about our own history, and adding like it's funny when MAGA freaks and conservatives cry about this shit, but you obviously do not care about Jewish people. Stop pretending we already know you hate us. As well as no one believes Ethan Klein is an anti-Semite. They know he is Jewish and that this was a joke. Klein has literally been swatted by neo-Nazis. But still, you had others saying, yeah, he can be a Jewish person, but that doesn't justify joking about someone being murdered. And actually, in a huge update to this story, it happened while I was filming this video. Looks like YouTube is cracking down on Ethan Klein right now. With a video where Ethan made the original joke about Shapiro getting taken down for harassment and bullying, and then even the new live stream today got taken down, with Hassan even going on his own stream later to confirm that it was taken down.
I woke up early this morning and I went over to Leftovers and I shot Leftovers, and you guys won't be able to see the episode if you weren't watching live. And the reason for that is because it's been taken down. They came after our boy. They came after Ethan for saying things that were definitely, you know, a little spicy, a spicy facility. Okay.
Gosh.
You went real.
Okay. There, I think.
Yeah.
You can
I'm
stop
tired
there.
of hearing this guy.
No. But you can see like this is okay. Look at how the left responds. The left responds saying like, "Oh, this is fine. This is totally cool." Like he's just making a spicy.
He's a joke.
You know? It's
He's
a joke.
joking it about other
He's
people getting
joking
genocided.
about like
Yay.
yeah. He's joking about somebody getting murdered and like, you know, gassed by by people in the Holocaust and all that. Now, he's hiding under the idea that he's selfish, but even though he's basically saying, like, you know, like one of the most insensitive things you can say about a Jewish person, right? Now, Ethan Klein is no stranger to this kind of like language. He actually called for like a terrorist attack.
Yes, he did.
Like by his own number. He's like, I hope that somebody will actually like go and do some
And
kind
bombs
of
them.
and bombs them. This
What was that? Was
reunion
that
or
like an
something.
NRA convention? Or what was
It was
that?
some kind of convention. He was hoping that somebody would like actually go there and do some kind of a bombing, basically advocating for a terror attack. And so this guy has a tendency to be very, very careless, like with his words. Like obviously today, I don't know if you kind of saw a little bit of the what was his name, Stephen Tate, on like, you know, like
Andrew Tate.
Andrew Tate. He was with Piers Morgan.
Piers Morgan.
And Andrew Tate is known for being completely and totally very like Alex Jones. Like he'll just say things, and he, like, for the most part, if you understand what he's saying, you can understand. He has a way of saying in a way that's not politically correct, which gets him into trouble. Now, Andrew Tate has been taken off of YouTube for saying far milder things than anything that Ezra said. But Andrew Tate has been canceled by social media because he's part of the wrong team. He's basically part of the, like, you know, not even conservatives. He's just basically not with the libs.
Yep.
And so this is how they respond. So what we want to show you here is that the left is trying to say, oh, this is like the conservatives playing dirty. They're trying to create this like this whole
here it is.
thing out of it.
Yeah, he called for the bombing of an NRA conference and deleted interviews he did with Jordan Peterson.
Yeah. So Klein is he's known to be this kind of provocative. And here like, you know, even like Ben Shapiro is a hateful little,
Yeah.
So he has a tendency to throw out all sorts of like really horrible and hateful things and all that kind of stuff. Now, we're not saying like, you know, I'm a should be allowed to say what they want. I mean, except to the actually calling for violence, which he has actually, like, you know, been caught for, right? The problem is that there's a massive double standard when it comes to anything like, you know, like the taboo topics like, you know, anti-Semitism. And a couple of examples that we should cover is like what the Democrat Party themselves have said that are very anti-Semitic remarks, but they get blowback. So let's take it to the National
Review. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
okay, you want to read it or should I?
I'll take care of it.
Okay, go for it.
This is National Review. Okay, so time for Democrats to address their anti-Semitism problem. So, of course, the members there are Ayanna Pressley, Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez, Ilhan Omar, and Rashida Tlaib. Now, these are called the Squad, but the problem, and this was from May 26, 2021. So, basically what happened is, just the actual quote here. I'm trying to find like where the actual things that they said. So these women are basically like known for making extremely anti-Semite claims in their in their thing. So what do they say? Okay, here it is. Those few Democrats who unapologetically defend Israel, such as Richie Torres, a freshman in Congress, found themselves ostracized. The moment I sent a statement denouncing the terrorism of Hamas, I was swiftly demonized by extremists as white supremacists, as a supporter of apartheid, ethnic cleansing, genocide. Torres told, a Jewish event. So basically, when you try to defend Israel, you're called all sorts of horrible. But when these women basically make attacks and make statements that are completely and totally, they basically make statements that attack people in Israel, they're completely correct. They're protected, and they are never ever called out for it. So in this environment, so some of the things that they say is that they falsely an apartheid state. Sorry, I didn't actually have a chance to look through the article beforehand. But basically, all you need to know is that all four of these women, at some point or another, have said very, very controversial things about Israel.
Mm-hmm.
And their comments were very, they were blatant. They basically said, I think Rashida Tlaib at one point said that that basically, Israel was controlled by Benjamin Netanyahu or something like that. Like they basically have said a lot of very concerning things, and they've never faced any actual punishment, any repercussions for their words. In calling out Israel, and it's an obvious example of anti-Semitism by the Squad. Now, in the next post, in the Jerusalem Post, this is an example of Democratic group accused of anti-Semitism for mocking the names of Jewish politicians. The since deleted no IDC tweet, dripping with anti-Semitism, mocked Jewish New York politicians Dan Goldman and Jeffrey Dinowitz, and quickly sparked ire from local politicians. So here's a quote: "The jerk buying a house seat with inherited money is Goldman," like in little quotations.
Mm-hmm.
Member said, is Dinowitz. Who came up with these names? Dickens, a member of No IDC New York, wrote Saturday. The tweet has since been deleted. So basically, here we have a Democratic group that basically mocked these two members of Congress for having for their Jewish names. Obviously, this should be completely and totally off limits, but these groups never face any actual backlash from the media or any actual repercussions in full. So these are just two examples that just came search, but this is very common. The left says horrible about other people, and they never get called out for it. This is not just limited to the United States. This was also something that recently in this year in the spring during the trucker convoy here in Canada, and this is from the New York Post. So it said that Justin Trudeau sparked outrage after accusing Jewish conservatives of supporting swastikas. So his comments were basically as such. What did he say? He accused a Jewish conservative party member of supporting people who wave swastikas. Now, the actual comments that he made, so this member, so if you actually scroll down, show the member, the lady who was actually asking Justin Trudeau himself the question is a Jewish member of parliament. So scroll down, look at the picture of the member here. So this is the member. Her name is
Melissa Landsman.
Alyssa Latsman, okay? She's actually Jewish. And this is no secret to anybody in Parliament. They all know who she is. They know she's Jewish. She asked a question about the convoy and about the way that the Prime Minister was recognizing people at the convoy. He responds by saying, he's like, unlike the conservatives who stand with swastikas. Essentially, he was saying the Conservative Party, and her in particular, because she's asking the question, so the comment is directed at her, stand with swastikas. In other words, they stand with Nazis. If there is a more anti-Semitic make, I don't know of one. Justin Trudeau faced zero repercussions of any kind. He never apologized for that remark. And he basically just went away and hid after he was being called out by people in Parliament. So here's a leader of a massive national party in Canada saying one of the most inexcusable things possible, and he faces no consequences.
Mm-hmm.
So that's Democrats. On the other side, then you look at the Daily Wire story. Look at what happened to Whoopi Goldberg as opposed to what happened
to Gina.
So we covered this story when it happened. So Whoopi Goldberg, so she went on her show, and she basically said that, what the Nazis did to the Jews was not anti-Semitism. Oh no, it was what was it, cultural or something like that? She said something ridiculous like that.
Oh no, she said that Jews were not targeted and exterminated because of their race.
Yes. Yeah, so she basically tried to erase the actual oppression of Jews by suggesting that it's not because of the race, it's because of some kind of a cultural thing or something like that.
Yeah.
The problem is that she wanted to do that because she wants to try to make the case that it wasn't racist because they're white, right? Most of the Jews who were killed were white. And so she tried to downplay the fact that that racism can actually be race on white people against white people, but no, it can't be that. Now, her comments were basically panned across the board by everyone. What was her punishment? She got a 2-week suspension. I think it was a paid suspension too.
Yep.
Fully, but yeah, she got a 2-week suspension from the show. However, what people pointed out is Gina Carano, who was the actress on the
Mm-hmm.
show, and she was a very popular character on The Mandalorian. She basically went on her Twitter, and she basically said that whenever people are before you get genocide, you have to get to dehumanization. And she used the Holocaust as an example of that human tendency to dehumanize before you get to genocide, which is a completely fair thing. And she was trying to refer to the unvaccinated, obviously. Nothing about that comment is actually.
Yeah.
But Disney used that as a justification to completely fire her nilly-willy. So, Gina Carano, who's a conservative, says something that people get offended about Jews, and she gets canceled. Whoopi Goldberg says some far worse things, and she's fine. She just gets a 2-week vacation. Maybe she goes on some trip somewhere, no problem, right? This is the kind of thing that happens. And even just for a final, you have even Ron DeSantis. So Ron DeSantis for the story you can actually for passing the parental rights bill, the Jewish Heritage Museum decided that they're going to ban DeSantis. Why? Because he the Jews wanted. Decided to take
the Jews would totally be okay with grooming children.
Yeah, but the article said, when I read through it, when they were asked about it, they've allowed AOC to speak at the same museum, even though AOC has verifiably said anti-Semitic things about Israel and about Jews. She's fine. She's totally fine. She doesn't get canceled. Ron DeSantis gets canceled for being a conservative. But they allow this. So the idea that I want to point out is that anti-Semitism is always wrong. The problem is the way that any Democrat, any lunatic leftist who is in power whether it's in a news organization, whether it's in politics, so if you're a political party, whether it's even like if you're a leftist like Ethan Klein, you are basically allowed to say horrible anti-Semitic things, and you'll get away with it. If you're on the right side, on the conservative side, you're not, and we're supposed to pretend like this is not a thing. But this is what they're doing. Ezra Klein or Ethan Klein. What was the penalty that he got? He basically got the little slap on the wrist. His video got taken.
Yep.
And he'll just go back and keep going, and you can.
And then in 6 months, he'll say something else that's threatening and abusive.
Yeah. Whereas
we here, of course, are entirely for free speech.
Yep.
But suggesting and encouraging people to die is still inappropriate.
Yep.
No matter who says it. If we were to suggest that because of him saying this, Ethan Klein should be gassed, that would also be inappropriate. And like Ben Shapiro's response was great. He's like, if there's another Holocaust, I hope Ethan Klein's family gets away. That was a good response.
That was a very good response.
And then Ethan Klein's like, meh. These people are so arrogant and so aggravatingly prideful and wicked.
They're also dangerous.
Yes. Their mantra is dangerous, especially if these kind of people are dictating public policy when it comes to foreign nations like Iran or Palestine.
Mm-hmm.
Like what the Democrats and what the United Nations wants to do in Israel to the Jews is dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
And it's what they are doing, what they're encouraging is anti-Semitic, but because the Democrats and the left get away with all of this, their anti-Semitism gets a free pass because they're supporting the specific narrative which the establishment wants to push.
Mm-hmm.
And we won't. We're going to stand against it for as long as we can.
Yeah.
Until they eventually take us off and deplatform us again. So, thanks for the current attention, but we'll see how long it lasts.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, that was Nothing to See Here. And now we shall finally move on to our final segment of today's episode.
Mm-hmm.
The douche of the week.
Hmm.
Because Hoagie Dinah.
Oh, they keep getting worse, man.
Yeah. I thought I had a douche of the week candidate, and I was like, whoa.
Not even close.
That's terrifyingly evil.
Yep.
So let's go about that.